Hey there, welcome. My name is Jessica Buchanan, and I'm a New York Times bestselling author, professional speaker, and founder of Soul Speak Press, a non-traditional publishing company created for women who've been through something, now they know something, and they can teach us something. In Her Words is a podcast designed to support aspiring memoir authors on their writing and publishing journey. It's hard work, this writing and publishing stuff, and I want to empower you with encouragement and information so you can keep sharing your truth. So grab your coffee, your notebook, find a quiet space, and let's dive in. Another episode of In Her Words. Today I'm going to be doing a solo episode, but it's not necessarily solo in the fact that I am actually answering some questions that one of our followers, Anita Davis Sullivan, shout out to Anita. She left a bunch of questions that were really, really good on one of our posts a couple weeks ago. I did another solo episode about why you should build a following, why you need to focus on Instagram and building your social media following as an author, as a memoirist. And she left a bunch of really good questions. And I said, like, we interacted in the comments, and I said, just, send over a list of questions and I'll be happy to answer them and address them to the best of my knowledge on our next episode of In Her Words. So she did. And so I think a lot of her questions are very much in line with probably some of the things that our listeners, that you as a writer may be thinking or maybe contemplating as you're building your profile and building your platform on Instagram. So I think that I'm going to go ahead and just jump in, and I'm going to do a QA with myself, essentially. So hang out, stick with me. So one of her questions, her first question was, if she should include a new profile. Okay, so it looks like she's got an existing account and that she uses it for like family private content. And she wants to know if she should start a new profile for like more work related stuff, I guess, or perhaps platform building. And I am like torn on this. I think personally, because I remember somebody else, another author, asking me this, why I was so focused on building my own personal page as opposed to Soul Speak Press. And I think the answer to her question is the same answer that I would give Anita, is that you are your brand. Like, you are your story as the author. Me, Jessica Buchanan, people know me as the kidnapping survivor rescued by SEAL Team 6. And so while we do have a Soul Speak Press page, and that following is not nearly as big as my own, because I've focused on building my own brand, and there's some spillover too, which I do put a little bit of family stuff, a little bit of personal stuff, but I do talk about all of the different pillars that I'll get to in a minute, that are important to me, all the things that are a part of me and my brand. And essentially, Soul Speak Press is just like one part of what I do. I'm a public speaker. I'm an advocate. I'm a teacher. I'm a mom. I'm a wife. I love to travel. So the reason I have chosen to really focus my efforts on me as a person is because Soul Speak Press is just a pillar that I have built my platform upon. Kidnapping Survivor is a pillar. Rescue by SEAL Team 6 is a pillar. Women who have abandoned themselves and are reclaiming themselves is a pillar. And so all of that goes under the Jessica Buchanan framework, essentially the umbrella. So, I mean, if you want to have an account where you're posting pictures of your puppy all day long, then I would probably start a separate account. But your family and whatever, I don't know what she's calling private content, but I'm imagining it's maybe she's into gardening or maybe she paddleboards. Like, those are all a part of the thing that brings people to your page. And those are the things like highlighting things about your family or things that you're doing or your hobbies and the things that you're into are all a part of your story, and they're a part of what brings people to you and helps them get to know you and then builds trust. So if you're trying to convert um, your followers into clients or make sales off that, or however you're doing it, to humanize yourself and make yourself more like relatable is only going to serve you. So Anita, my advice would be to just keep it the same. I probably wouldn't start another account. Okay. So then she asks, how do you decide what that platform really focuses on and what the tone is? It feels paralyzing to not do it wrong when starting over after several years. Okay, first of all, you can't do anything wrong. No one is going to like, the Instagram, TikTok gods are not going to come after you and banish you to the depths of, banishment because you did something wrong. I do get it. It's analysis paralysis. I do understand. But I have been of the mindset that you're going to learn as you go, and you've just got to start out and do it messy. If I were to scroll through and look at my first post, I'm sure I would be just like hang my head in shame at how like amateur they were, or maybe the aesthetics didn't look great, or just like, here's a picture of me and my pancake that I just made. Whatever. I've learned, like, in social media is a language, right? And so you wouldn't go to Italy if you were a student learning a language and keep your mouth shut until you were fluent, and then you would start talking to people, right? No, you would start talking to people in your broken Italian, and you would fumble through the market, and you would order the wrong thing at dinner, but that is how you learn. So I think that getting on Instagram, starting to build your profile, trying out things that work for you, that seem easy, that you're passionate about, um, seeing what lands, how do people react to it? What do people comment on the most? What do they like the most? Also, what kind of content do you follow? That's going to inform a lot of the stuff that you want to put out there. What kind of influencers are you following? What kind of content like hits home for you? That's going to be very informative in terms of what you want to post. Now, way back when I was starting out, Lauren, my counterpart here at Soul Speak Press, also my sister-in-law, her background is in marketing. And like when we were like first getting started and I was really trying to build my online presence, I mean, geez, I feel like this is like 6 or 7 years ago, and I knew nothing about social media. I had like a real like chip on my shoulder about Instagram, especially. And I was only posting things about my kids. Um, I've since obviously come around, but it's been a journey. And she would always talk about how you needed to have 5 pillars upon which your platform was built. I'm not a marketing guru or an expert. I don't you know, posit to be. That's not what we promote here at Soul Speak Press. But I will say, if you are getting started, I think that this is a good place for you to start. Um, and I'm going to look at it from I'm thinking about all of my memoirist anthology contributors. Um, I would pick 5 things, 5 themes from your story, from your life, that are really important to you. Um, Maybe resilience, is an important theme. Overcoming is an important theme. And so you're going to think about content that you can share that highlights the resilient part of your story, the overcoming part of your story, resilience of other people. Pick the low-hanging fruit, like quotes about resilience and overcoming. That would be one platform. Okay, let's say then your second platform is travel. You love to travel the globe, and you feel like that has also ties into who you are as a person, and maybe it like um you know overlaps into your story. Travel is a big part of something that I share on social media because I'm married to a European. We spend our summers in Europe. We travel a lot for work, and we travel a lot for family fun too, so that's a big part of my journey. and something that I like to share on social media. And it fits into my platform. It's one of my pillars. Um, I'm thinking about like, now I'm switching over to me thinking about what my pillars are, but like women's rights, anytime there's something in the news, I don't necessarily things get so political, so I might depends on what kind of, again, she's talking about the tone. Like if you want to get really political, feel free, go for it. You're going to get like so much backlash, just, a word of warning to the wise. But for me, I really love to focus on, especially after DTM2, this like authentic the messages of authenticity for women, messages for women about, just being wild and free and free of societal expectations around our appearance, body positivity, body image, stuff like that. That's one of the pillars that I like to lean heavily into. Um, Let's see, what's another one? I'll be leaning into the motherhood pillar as we move into DTM3, the pilgrimage of motherhood, and I'll be sharing more about my motherhood journey and my story. I feel like my pillars move a lot because I am promoting like different projects. But that's going to happen for you too, because as you evolve and as you get clear about the direction that you're heading, things are going to change and your passions are going to change and the advocacy that you want to do and the education you want to do is going to change. So, just get started. Like that's the most important part. Like that's what I see all the time. Like don't obsess about whether or not your post is perfect. Just get it something posting something is better than not posting anything. Because people are going to start connecting with you. And the whole point still of social media is to be social and is to build an audience and is to build a community. And no matter what you're doing, your hopes are and what you're aiming to do with it, it's still important to just show up. Okay. Okay, so she says, do I start talking about writing and pieces of the story that will come out even before knowing when, how, etc.? Yes, yeah, absolutely. You don't have to have your manuscript written to start sharing the pieces of your story. A really easy way to do this is through Reels. I talked about that. I should know what number episode that is, but I don't. But we only have like 10 episodes. So it's the one about building a platform on Instagram. Um, Sharing little truths, sharing memories, sharing hard things that happened in your story in little blurbs, or if you take a picture of something that reminds you of this truth that you learned or this hard morning that you had, go ahead and start sharing that. You don't have to have had everything figured out and have everything done and everything written before you can start sharing it on Instagram. Okay, now here's a good question. Here's a big question. Do you mix up the platform between IG and TikTok, Instagram and TikTok? Okay, so I am not like really active on TikTok. Every once in a while, I'll get on TikTok to look up recipes and look up cat videos with my daughter. um, and then every once in a while I'll get like freaked out and be like, "Oh my God, we should be on TikTok. This is like such an opportunity that we're missing." And I'm sure it is. It's just like, what do we have the bandwidth for? Okay. We just brought on someone to help us with grow our Instagram and to do the posting on Instagram because we're so strapped right now with work. Yay. Thank you, source energy, God, universe, that we've got all of this work coming in. But like we would have to hire a whole other person to build our TikTok profile, and maybe someday we will. Here's the other thing I want to say about TikTok and memoirists or memoirs. I don't see, like, for book talk, I don't see a huge opportunity is not the right word, but like typically I think book talk really focuses on fiction and all the different genres, subgenres of fiction. I'm sure there are memoirists, killing it on TikTok, nonfiction writers that are killing it on TikTok. I just haven't been able to see that their accounts are that big that I don't know if they're converting into readers, but they're not typically the ones. Again, I'm not an expert, but from my like very cursory research, they're not the ones who are killing it with these huge accounts. because I've looked for TikTokers who would like, influencers who could promote our books, and there aren't a whole lot that I was able to find to promote Memoir. So if you're listening to this and you know of some accounts that I could like reach out to, that would be awesome. Please share them with me. Um, I've really focused on Instagram. Again, I'm going to go back to that language analogy. It's taken me a long time to learn Instagram. And I don't always get it right. I'm still going to misuse a word. I'm still going to flub up and accidentally order octopus instead of bread. But really bad analogies. But you get what you get what I'm trying to put down. Um, I have decided to really focus. We've just decided to focus on Instagram. Also, I think you have to take into account like what's your end goal and what are you trying to achieve? Are you trying to achieve book sales? If you want to sell books, who do you think your reader is? Who is your main audience? Are they women that are your age? Like for me, like 45 and over. Most of those women, most of my readers, they hang out on Instagram and Facebook. Facebook, I feel like has changed. I don't really understand it anymore. It just feels like a bunch of ads all the time. Fortunately, Lauren understands it better than I do. I don't really interact on Facebook. Instagram is definitely where I hang out most of the time. And it does for us, like we're trying to sell books. We want, more readers to get their hands on DTM. But we're also looking to bring in authors, right? For Memoir Manifestos and for all of our anthologies and collections. So, we'll take women at any age for sure, but like the main, I think the demographic who follows me, they're like 18 or like I think it's actually more like 35 to 65, right? Because that's kind of the demographic that I fall into. I think TikTok is younger. It's a younger audience. They're Gen Zers. Um, if you're, a middle-aged woman writing about rebuilding your life after divorce, I'm sure there are people on TikTok who that is going to appeal to, but think about where your audience is hanging out online. Okay. So this is going to be a quick one. I think, Anita, I answered all of your questions. The main thing I want to leave you with is that this is all an experiment. No one knows how the algorithm really works. No one knows how many people are going to see your content. That's the other thing I see a lot. Is that authors will post once about their book coming out or their chapter coming out and then scratch their heads after published date, and they don't understand why no one knew that they had a book coming out, because probably 1% of the people on Instagram are seeing your content. You got to post the same thing, the same message, the same thing over and over and over and over again, right? People give me a lot of flack for posting about the kidnapping and tell me it's my whole personality. And is that the only thing I can ever post about? Which I don't really understand, because if you look at my content, you see I post about writing and memoir and healing and trauma and motherhood and all the other things. But haters are always going to hate. So you have to remember, you just like have to keep posting, post. Alternate it. If you're really committed to building your audience, then every day, 5 days a week, pick one of your pillars. Pick something about travel, pick something about your story, pick something about motherhood, pick something about trauma, pick something about overcoming, and boom, you've got five pieces of content that you can post. It's a lot of work. No one said it wasn't going to be. Everybody makes the mistake saying social media is free. It's not free, because it's going to cost you your time and your mental space. However, it is the most accessible tool you have available to you as a memoirist. So do it messy, experiment. Talk about it. Talk about your story. Talk about your experience. Talk about the things. No one's going to know you're out there or that your book is coming out if you don't start talking about it. Okay. So we're here to support you, whatever you need. We're not social media experts, but we do a pretty good job on social media. I think about half of our clients do come through my own personal page. And so we must be doing something right. So, show yourself authentically, be honest, be vulnerable. Like attracts like. So whatever you want to attract is what you're putting out there, and whatever you're putting out there is what you're going to attract. So keep on keeping on, Anita. We are following you, we are supporting you, we're cheering you on. This episode is dedicated to you, even though I think we've had a call, but I don't think I've ever met you. So yeah, here you go. Let's everybody go follow Anita Davis Sullivan and cheer her on as she starts to build her platform. And if you have any other questions about anything, DM me, email me, and I will do another episode like this. All right, guys. Until then, keep writing, keep healing, and just be your beautiful selves. In Her Words is hosted by me, Jessica Buchanan, and is produced by Soul Speak Press, a non-traditional publishing house for women who are ready to tell their story. If you would like to know more about our submission process, I encourage you to check us out at www.soulspeakpress.com or follow us over on Instagram at soulspeakpress. We appreciate all your questions, and if you would like to leave us a review, we would be so grateful.